What's some popular self-care/self-love advice that is actually really toxic? Advice to surround yourself only with positive people. If you're willing to cut people from your life when they are a bit down, that's a recipe for people hiding the negatives in their life from friends, only discussing the positive and having mostly superficial friendships, for fear of you being cut out of their lives. Not saying you need to keep people in your life who are treating you badly, but we all go through times when we are up and times when we are down. Friends give you the time through both. That you should expect unconditional support, love and acceptance from friends or romantic partners. Popular idea, but if people really care they will tell you when you are harming yourself or others rather than just keep the vibe chill. Unconditional support does not mean they go along with whatever you want. It means they care about you and support you, even when you make bad decisions. And sometimes, supporting you means telling you how it is. Agreed, it shouldn't be a peacekeeping thing, but rather stemming from a mindset that you are deserving of love and support by default, e.g. it doesn't need to be earned or maintained as something you deserve through accomplishments. When someone feels like they have to earn love and support, they will have great anxiety about ensuring their accomplishments/contributions/etc. stay worthy of it, which can be an arbitrary and ever-shifting goalpost of what qualifies as worthy. I would say this also is connected to physical needs like food, water, and shelter. People who live in a society where they see the unhoused being abused and abandoned, cast aside as unworthy, that is going to impact them, no matter how supportive their loved ones are. Live your truth. There is a fine line between authenticity and being an asshole. I've yet to meet a person who uses "I'm speaking my truth" who didn't clearly mean I don't care how incorrect or hurtful what I'm about to say is. If you don't accept it, you're disrespecting me. Edit, to clarify, since some replies are bringing up specific people. I don't know much about celebrities. I was mostly thinking of a former co-worker who would use the phrase constantly when being blatantly wrong but still expecting to be accommodated for her preferred reality. Yup, it's more like, I only live in my truth, the rest of the world be damned if they don't align. Ignore the haters. Sometimes the haters are people who love you and want to warn you of potential pitfalls, such as MLMs, cults, abusive relationships, etc. Update. A few people are saying that the definition of haters is, essentially, only people who are hating for the wrong reasons. I agree, that's what this advice intends to communicate. Basically, don't pay any attention to people who project consistent irrational negativity your way. My concern is that this phrase is so easily misapplied as a self-love mantra, which ultimately serves to keep some vulnerable people from listening to the valid and well-intentioned concerns of loved ones. It can be used by a manipulative person to keep victims/vulnerable followers in line. I like "haters gonna hate" better because it implies there is a pattern. Like, oh, that person is always hating, so of course they're hating now. But if your sister is usually supportive, and definitely not a hater by nature, and is suddenly very concerned that your relationship is abusive, listen up. I think it comes down to the idea that you have, arguably, more to lose by disregarding a well-intentioned friend than by paying attention to an ill-intentioned one. I appreciated the feedback and did not find any of you to be haters. Smiley face. I have a friend who is very sucked into the girl boss subculture that has her working all hours on a business that makes no money, then doing self-care in the form of spending the little money she makes on manicures or expensive beauty products that other people have told her are self-care. Self-care and self-love is sometimes admitting that you need to stop perusing something that isn't working and is making you miserable, even if it's what you thought you wanted and even if everyone is telling you to keep going and not to give up. Edit. She's not in an MLM, although they're awful and I wish they were banned. She's in the fashion industry making amazing handmade one-offs, extremely talented. She enjoyed it when it was a hobby or something she did on the side and enjoys when she gets to work on community projects, but when she has commissions she puts them off until the last minute due to depression, then tries to fit into the hustle culture by staying up all night finishing things. It's a horrible cycle to be in. I also wanted to clarify that I don't think that it's a bad thing to treat yourself as part of self-care, but she largely buys into this as part of that kind of Instagram culture, putting photos of her nails up as number self-care etc. I love her, and as a therapist it's hard to see her go through this without any help. She's been largely failed by our mental health care system, who've lied to her about her missing appointments they never told her about etc. I've met women in my 20s, and some felt right, but either they or I weren't ready to pull the trigger and work towards something great. Now, in my 30s, I'm realizing there is no one, just the one you decided to be real with and put the effort in rather than go through the motions. Find someone you love, not the crowd's love. I love this comment. So true. I never see myself getting married and never have, and I'm in my 30s. As a young girl I really bought into the idea of a soulmate. Now I realize it's exactly what you said. Pick one that you can talk to, that respects you, whose company you enjoy, and work hard at it. Nicely put, man. OMG, as a woman, I feel like stuff like face masks and pedicures and manicures etc. are constantly pushed on us as self-care, to the point where you almost get conditioned or peer pressured into believing it is, even if you don't genuinely enjoy it. I know some women do, but honestly it took me a while to realize I freaking hate getting my hair done, boring skin masks feel like a chore, I hate getting my nails done, etc. etc. I think a lot of women feel similar to me, but it's just this culture's go-to treat for a woman. Most of it is really boring and tedious and kinda like going to the dentist. It's sort of like people might say that men just wanna watch football and drink beer to decompress, so even men who don't really personally like sports or beer will just start doing it on autopilot. My mother-in-law does this all the time. She will say something hateful to or about the people in her life, and then when someone calls her out on it she claims, "I think people would appreciate honesty," and acts like she's the victim and we're all attacking her. She told me how ugly and horrendous she thought my recently deceased grandmother hand-sewn wedding dress was, and when I told her that hurt my feelings she blew up, claimed I was attacking her, and sent 32 back-to-back texts to my now husband about how I clearly didn't want her in our lives so she wouldn't contact us ever again. Too bad she didn't stick to that promise. Yeah, that's how these brutally honest types usually are. They, somewhat ironically, have extremely delicate egos and cannot take what they dish out.